Letitgo, and move forward. Ladies and gentlemen, life has a way of handing us things we didn't ask for. Disappointments, setbacks, betrayals, mistakes, regrets. If you live long enough, you're going to gather a whole collection of things that didn't go the way you planned. And here's the challenge some people carry that collection around with them like a heavy bag. Every hurt, every failure, every wrong word spoken, stuffed inside, carried year after year, and then they wonder why they feel so tired. My friends, you cannot move forward while dragging the weight of the past. You cannot run life's race with chains around your ankles. If you want to see what's possible for you tomorrow, you've got to release what's holding you back from yesterday. Now, I don't mean forgetting lessons. No, the past is valuable when you turn it into wisdom, but there's a difference between learning from it and living in it. The person who broke your trust, they've already moved on. The mistake you made, it's already yesterday's news. The deal that didn't work out, the time you fell short, it's over. The only place it still lives is in your mind, and as long as it lives there, it robs you of today. Here's a principle worth remembering: what you hold on to will hold on to you. If you hold on to bitterness, bitterness will hold on to you. If you hold on to resentment, resentment will live rent-free in your heart. If you hold on to regret, regret will anchor you where you are. But if you choose to let it go, then suddenly your hands are free to reach for new opportunities, new relationships, new victories. Letting go is not weakness, it's strength. It takes courage to say, that's enough. That season is over. That chapter is closed. It takes maturity to stop replaying the same story in your head and start writing a new one. And it takes wisdom to know that life is too short to be lived backwards. Some people say, but you don't know what they did to me. You're right, I don't. But I do know what holding on to it will do to you. It will poison your joy. It will shrink your vision. It will blind you to new blessings standing right in front of you. Letting go isn't about excusing what happened. It's about refusing to let it define your future. Imagine this: you're driving a car and you spend all your time staring in the rear view mirror. You can't. If you do, you'll crash. The mirror has its place. It's good to glance back, check what's behind, learn from it. But the windshield is much larger for a reason. The future is always bigger than the past. So here's the real question: what do you need to release today? Is it guilt from something you said? Let it go. Is it anger towards someone who hurt you? Let it go. Is it disappointment in yourself for not being further along? Let it go. Why? Because every ounce of energy wasted on yesterday is stolen from the power you need for today. And once you let go, here's what you do: you move forward. Forward with confidence. Forward with clarity. Forward with faith that the best is still to come. Forward knowing that your past is a teacher, not a prison. Forward because the only way you get to your next chapter is by turning the page. Life has an incredible way of rewarding those who refuse to get stuck. Opportunities open, relationships blossom, strength returns, and vision expands. But it begins with one decision: I will no longer be held hostage by what I cannot change. So let today be the day you drop the weight. Let today be the day you forgive yourself, others, the situation. Let today be the day you trade chains for wings. Because when you let it go, you don't lose. You gain. You gain freedom, peace, energy, and the power to create a future that's brighter than anything behind you. Life is a journey, and along this journey, each of us collects experiences. Some of those experiences are joyful, inspiring, and motivating. They lift us up, they remind us of the beauty of living, and they push us forward with energy and enthusiasm. But there are also experiences that are heavy: failures, rejections, heartbreaks, betrayals, disappointments, losses. And the truth is, many people take those heavy experiences and put them in a bag they carry around, sometimes for years, sometimes for decades. They don't realize that the bag gets heavier with time, and every step forward becomes harder. Carrying the past is like carrying unnecessary weight. You might think you're managing it. You might think you're strong enough to bear it. But eventually, that weight begins to slow you down, and it keeps you from running as freely as you were meant to run. Imagine someone training for a marathon, but choosing to run while dragging a chain. They might still make progress, but the progress will be slow, painful, and exhausting. Eventually, they may stop altogether, not because they lack the ability to run the race, but because they refuse to drop the chain. Life works the same way. The regrets you hold on to, the mistakes you replay, the anger you nurture, the guilt you refuse to release, they all become chains. And every day you keep them with you, you make the road harder than it needs to be. The weight of yesterday does not belong in today. The mistake you made last year is already in the record books, but if you keep reliving it, you're volunteering to suffer twice, once when it happened, and again every time you replay it in your mind. That's wasted energy, and energy is precious. Energy is what you need to create, to build, to dream, to pursue, to achieve. If that energy is tied up in carrying weight from the past, then it cannot be used for the opportunities that are right here in front of you. Carrying the past robs you of the present and steals the future you could be creating. We've all seen people who just can't seem to move on. They talk about what went wrong 10 years ago as if it happened yesterday. They relive old arguments, old heartbreaks, old failures, and they wonder why their lives feel stuck. The reason is simple: their hands are too full of the past to grab hold of the future. You can't climb higher if both hands are gripping something that pulls you down. At some point, you've got to let go. Letting go doesn't mean pretending nothing happened. It doesn't mean ignoring the lessons or erasing the memories. It means acknowledging what happened, learning what you need to learn, and then making a conscious choice to no longer carry it with you. It means saying to yourself, that moment is over. That chapter is closed. I will not let it dictate the rest of my story. This is not weakness. In fact, it takes real strength. It's much easier to cling to pain than it is to release it because the pain has become familiar. But strength is in release. Freedom is in release. Think of an airplane trying to take off. It cannot rise if it's overloaded with baggage. There are strict weight limits for a reason. If the plane is too heavy, it can't get off the ground. And yet, many people wonder why they haven't been able to soar in life while holding on to baggage that should have been left on the runway years ago. They want freedom while clinging to what binds them. They want progress while carrying resistance. They want joy while nurturing bitterness. But those things can't coexist. You can't be light while insisting on carrying weight. Another way to see it is like climbing a mountain. The higher you climb, the thinner the air, and the lighter you need to be. No climber in their right mind loads up unnecessary rocks in their backpack before starting the climb. And yet that's exactly what some people do in life. They add rocks of regret, boulders of anger, stones of disappointment, and they attempt to climb with all of that weighing them down. Eventually, the climb feels impossible, not because the mountain is too high, but because they refuse to drop the rocks. When you release unnecessary weight, something powerful happens. You feel lighter. Your vision clears, your pace quickens. Suddenly, the possibilities ahead seem brighter, not because the world changed, but because you did. You changed what you chose to carry. The past is not meant to be a permanent companion. It is meant to be a teacher. Learn the lesson, then let it go. Carrying it beyond that point is like carrying a teacher on your back long after class is over. The purpose of the lesson is growth, not burden. So the question to ask yourself is this: what weight am I still carrying that I no longer need? Is it the regret of a missed opportunity? Is it anger towards someone who wronged me? Is it guilt for not being perfect, for making mistakes, for being human? Is it disappointment in how long the journey has taken? Identify it. Call it by name. Because you can't drop what you refuse to acknowledge. And once you see it, ask yourself if it's helping you or hurting you. If it's keeping you stuck, then you already know the answer. The only step left is to drop it. Carrying the past is carrying unnecessary weight, and unnecessary weight will always keep you from moving as fast, as far, or as freely as you were designed to move. Life is too short to live it with chains, too precious to waste it dragging what should have been left behind. The past is a powerful teacher, but it was never meant to be a permanent residence. Every one of us has a history, and within that history are victories, failures, mistakes, and lessons. The value of the past lies in what it can teach us, not in how long we linger in it. When you take the past and turn it into wisdom, you gain something that can guide your steps today. But when you live in the past, you trap yourself in moments that no longer exist. The truth is, you cannot change yesterday. No matter how much you replay it, no matter how much you wish it had gone differently, no matter how much you hold on to it, it remains unchangeable. What can change, however, is how you interpret it and how you use it to shape your future. There are people who treat the past like a museum. They walk through the same halls every day, looking at the same pictures, telling the same stories, repeating the same regrets, and reliving the same pain. That museum becomes their world, and they wonder why they aren't moving forward. But a museum is not a home. It's a place you visit, learn from, and then leave behind. To live there is to miss out on everything that exists outside its walls. You were not designed to live in a replay of old memories. You were designed to create new ones. Think about the process of learning. A child falls while trying to walk. That fall is part of their past. But what happens next is what matters most. They don't sit there replaying the fall in their minds, saying, I failed once, so I'll never try again. No, they get up, take another step, and little by little, they learn to walk. The fall was not wasted because it became part of the lesson. But imagine if the child refused to get up, living in the story of their stumble, refusing to try again. That's what happens to many adults. They stumble, and instead of learning, They sit in the memory of the stumble for years, using it as a reason to stop moving forward. When you learn from the past, you grow stronger. Mistakes become teachers, failures become stepping stones, and heartbreaks become lessons in resilience. Every challenge holds a seed of wisdom, and when you extract that wisdom, you carry something valuable into your future. But living in the past means you're dragging not just the experience, but the pain of it, the emotion of it, the limitation of it. And the longer you live there, the less room you have for growth. You cannot plant new seeds in soil that is already crowded with old, unpulled weeds. The key is perspective. Perspective is what separates people who use the past as fuel from those who let the past become an anchor. If you choose to view your past as proof that you are incapable, then you'll carry that identity into everything you do. But if you choose to see your past as training, as preparation, as a classroom, then you'll step into the future with more wisdom, more clarity, and more confidence. One person says, because I failed, I am a failure. Another person says, because I failed, I learned how to succeed. The event was the same. The interpretation made all the difference. There is nothing wrong with remembering where you came from, but the danger comes when you confuse memory with destiny. Memory is for reflection. Destiny is for direction. Reflection says, I see what happened. Direction says, here's where I'm going. If you confuse the two, you'll end up building your future based on your worst days instead of your best possibilities. It's important to understand that the past can give you a foundation, but it cannot give you a future. You wouldn't build a house on the same ground over and over again after it's already been completed. You build on new land with new materials and new designs. In the same way, life requires that you move beyond what has already been built. The past holds the blueprint of lessons, but the construction happens today in this moment with your choices and actions. Some people believe that holding on to the past gives them identity. They define themselves by what happened to them, the pain they endured, or the mistakes they made. But your identity is not found in what happened to you. It is found in what you choose to do with what happened. You can either be the victim of your past or the student of it. One choice keeps you stuck. The other choice moves you forward. Living in the past is like trying to drive a car while only looking in the rear view mirror. The rear view mirror has a purpose. It helps you see what's behind. It gives you context, and it provides perspective. But if you focus only on it, you'll crash. The windshield is there to remind you that the road ahead is wider, clearer, and far more important than what's behind. Glance back when you need to, but keep your eyes on where you're going. The gift of the past is that it can sharpen your vision, deepen your wisdom, and make you more prepared for what lies ahead. But if you stay there, it becomes a prison instead of a teacher. The past can shape you, but it should never trap you. The difference lies in how you hold it, whether as a reference or as a residence. One gives you direction, the other steals your future. What you hold on to will hold on to you. This is one of life's most powerful truths, yet so many people overlook it. We often think we can carry anger, resentment, guilt, or bitterness without it affecting us. We believe we're the ones in control of these emotions, that we can tuck them away in some corner of our hearts, and they'll just sit there, harmless. But that's not how it works. Whatever you hold on to begins to hold on to you in return. It takes up space, it occupies your thoughts, it influences your decisions, and before long, it becomes a part of your identity. Bitterness, for example, doesn't just stay as a single event or a single hurt. It grows. It seeps into how you treat other people, how you view opportunities, even how you see yourself. You may think you've contained it, but it leaks into your words, your body language, and your outlook on life. Anger is the same way. You may think you're angry at just one person, one moment, one injustice, but anger has a way of chaining itself around your joy and dragging it down day after day. It's not just that you're angry at someone else. You begin to feel angry at life itself. And often, even at yourself, regret works in a similar way. You make a mistake, you fall short, you miss an opportunity. Instead of acknowledging it and moving forward, you clutch it tightly. You replay it in your mind over and over. You keep it alive when it should have been buried. And the more you hold on to regret, the more it holds you back. It whispers in your ear every time you try to start something new. Remember what happened last time. Remember how you failed. It begins to shape your decisions, making you cautious, hesitant, unwilling to take risks. The regret is no longer just a memory. It becomes a chain. It's the same with guilt. Carrying guilt is like walking with a weight on your shoulders that never lifts. Even when the day is bright, even when opportunities are in front of you, you still feel that heaviness. Guilt drains your energy. It clouds your thinking, and it convinces you that you're unworthy of moving forward. But the truth is, guilt was never meant to be a permanent companion. It's a signal, a reminder to make things right if you can to learn if you must, and then to release it. If you refuse to let it go, it will hold on to you until it becomes part of how you see yourself. The longer you hold on to negative emotions, the deeper they root themselves. They begin to build walls inside you. You find yourself unable to trust, unable to dream, unable to love freely, not because life has no possibilities, but because you've allowed what you're holding on to define the limits of your life. Every chain you refuse to release becomes a boundary you cannot cross. Every memory you cling to becomes a barrier to new experiences. But just as this principle applies to the negative, it also applies to the positive. If you hold on to gratitude, gratitude will hold on to you. It will begin to shape your thoughts, your actions, your relationships. Gratitude has a way of multiplying itself in your life. Hold on to kindness, and kindness will hold on to you, changing the way you see people, the way you react to challenges, the way you live your days. Hold on to faith, and faith will hold on to you, steadying you in storms and guiding you when the path feels unclear. Life is always offering you choices of what to hold on to. Every day, things happen, some uplifting, some painful. The question isn't whether things will happen, the question is which ones you will carry with you. Because those choices don't just sit idly in your memory. They shape your energy, your perspective, and ultimately your destiny. If you carry hurt, hurt will carry you into more bitterness. If you carry hope, hope will carry you into more opportunities. If you carry defeat, defeat will carry you into giving up. If you carry determination, determination will carry you into success. This is why it's so important to become intentional about what you allow yourself to hold. It's not just about letting go of the negative. It's about choosing the positive. It's about understanding that every thought, every emotion, every belief you hold on to has a way of wrapping itself around your future. You are not just carrying things in your mind, you are being carried by them in your life. Think of a tree. Whatever seed you hold in the soil of your heart will eventually take root and grow. If the seed is anger, the tree will bear anger's fruit. If the seed is joy, the tree will bear joy's fruit. You can't hold on to one thing and expect another to grow. You can't cling to bitterness and expect peace. You can't cling to fear and expect courage. You can't cling to doubt and expect confidence. What you hold on to will always hold on to you, shaping your world in ways both seen and unseen. So if your life feels heavy, if it feels like you're stuck, if it feels like the same patterns keep repeating, it may not be because life is against you. It may be because you're holding on to something that refuses to let you move. The question is not whether these things happen to you. The question is whether you are still choosing to carry them. And if you are, then they are carrying you. Focus on the windshield, not the rear view mirror. The design of a car teaches us something about life if we're willing to notice it. The windshield is wide open and expansive. It gives you a full view of where you're going, of the road ahead, of possibilities yet to be traveled. The rear view mirror, on the other hand, is small, limited, and narrow. It gives you a quick glimpse of what's behind, but it's never meant to be the center of your attention. That simple design carries a profound truth. The past has its place, but the future deserves your focus. Too many people drive through life with their eyes fixed on the mirror. They keep staring back at what's already behind them. Mistakes they made, opportunities they missed, things they wish they had done differently. They spend so much energy reliving what has already passed that they lose the chance to fully see what lies in front of them. The danger is obvious when your eyes are on the past. You can't steer effectively into the future. You drift, you hesitate, you miss opportunities that are right in front of you because you are not looking at them. The rear view mirror is not useless. It has a purpose. It gives context, perspective, awareness. You glance at it to learn to remind yourself what's behind, to make better decisions as you move forward. But if you fix your eyes on it for too long, you risk crashing. That's why the mirror is small and the windshield is large. Life wants you to glance back, but focus forward. Reflection is healthy, but obsession is destructive. Every person has a story behind them, some parts good, some parts painful, some parts filled with victory, some filled with failure. Those chapters have already been written. The ink is dry, you cannot rewrite them. But what you can do is use the lessons from them to guide the unwritten chapters that still lie ahead. If you waste time staring backward, you're trying to live in chapters that are already closed. You rob yourself of the chance to create new ones. Think about driving down a long highway. If you keep looking back, you'll miss the scenery ahead, you'll miss the turns you need to take, you'll miss the opportunities to speed up when the road is clear or slow down when there are obstacles. The same is true in life. The road ahead has opportunities that the road behind never offered. It has blessings you haven't seen yet, relationships you haven't formed yet, successes you haven't achieved yet. The only way to experience them is to keep your focus on the windshield. There's another reason to focus on the windshield. The road ahead is always bigger than the road behind. The past may seem overwhelming, but in reality, it is small compared to what can still be created. The future is open, wide, and full of possibility. Just because you've traveled a certain path doesn't mean you must stay on it. Just because you've taken wrong turns doesn't mean you can't correct your course. The windshield shows you that there is more road ahead than there is behind. It's easy to get stuck in regret. People replay the same, if only, thoughts, if only I had taken that chance, if only I had made a different choice, if only I had started earlier. But regret is just another form of staring at the rear view mirror. It doesn't change anything. It only distracts you from what you could do now. The truth is, the road ahead doesn't care about the detours you took behind. It only cares about what direction you're steering today. Fear also keeps people looking back. Fear says, what if I fail again? What if it turns out the same way? So instead of focusing on the windshield, they freeze in the mirror. But the danger of that fear is that it convinces you the past will always repeat itself. And that's not true. The past is a teacher, not a prophecy. You can learn from what happened, but you are not condemned to repeat it unless you refuse to change your direction. Consider the journey of anyone who has achieved great things. None of them had a perfect past. All of them had failures, disappointments, and mistakes in their rear view mirror. But what set them apart was their decision to focus forward. They refused to let yesterday's crash stop them from today's drive. They used the mirror to learn, but the windshield to live. There is also freedom in the windshield. When you look forward, you realize you're not bound by where you've been. You're free to take new roads, explore new opportunities, and create new experiences. The mirror shows you limitation. The windshield shows you possibility. The mirror shows you what cannot be changed. The windshield shows you what can still be built. If you spend too much time behind the glass of memory, you end up stuck in nostalgia or bitterness. Nostalgia makes you wish for a time that has already passed. Bitterness makes you resent a time that went wrong. Both tie you to a past that no longer exists. The windshield, however, reminds you that life is still moving, and so must you. There are still miles to travel, places to see, and destinations to reach. The road ahead will always be uncertain, but that uncertainty is not a reason to avoid it. It's a reason to embrace it. The mirror offers no uncertainty, only repetition of what has already been. The windshield offers unpredictability, and in that unpredictability lies opportunity. The unknown is where growth happens, where new things are discovered, where transformation takes place. The mirror can't give you that. Only the windshield can. Letting go creates room for growth. Think of life as a house. Every room has only so much space, and if it's filled with old furniture, broken things, and clutter from the past, there's no room for anything new. You might want a fresh table, a new chair, or a brighter lamp, but you can't bring them in until you make space. Growth requires room. Opportunities need space to land. New relationships need space to develop. Fresh ideas need space to breathe. Yet many people wonder why their lives feel stagnant while refusing to clear out the clutter of old disappointments, old grudges, old failures, and old fears. When you hold on to what no longer serves you, you block what could serve you. Life is always offering new chances, but if your hands are already full, you can't receive them. Imagine someone at a buffet line with a plate stacked so high with food that they can't add anything else, not even the best dishes. They keep saying, "Why don't I have more variety? Why don't I get the best choices?" The truth is, their plate is already overcrowded. The same is true with life. If your emotional plate is filled with resentment, regret, or self-doubt, where will joy, courage, and possibility go? They will pass you by, not because they weren't available, but because you had no room. Letting go is not just about removing something negative. It's about creating capacity for something better. When you release resentment, you create space for peace. When you release fear, you create space for courage. When you release regret, you create space for vision. Every release is an exchange. Life doesn't leave you empty when you let go. It prepares you to be filled with what is higher, healthier, and more aligned with who you're becoming. Growth requires change, and change requires space. Think about a seed planted in the soil. For it to grow, there must be space for roots to spread. If the soil is packed with rocks, weeds, or old roots that haven't been cleared away, the seed struggles. It may survive, but it cannot thrive. Many people's lives are like that soil, crowded with the debris of yesterday, making it difficult for new growth to take root. By letting go of what no longer belongs, you clear the soil of your life, making room for something fresh and alive to grow strong. There's also a mental and emotional clarity that comes from letting go. When your mind is cluttered with replaying old arguments, obsessing over past failures, or worrying about things that already ended, your focus is divided. You can't think clearly. You can't plan effectively, and you can't see opportunities even when they're right in front of you. But when you let go, you free your mind. You create mental room for creativity, for vision, for problem solving. You start noticing possibilities you were blind to before because your attention was too tied up in what had already happened. Consider how relationships grow. If you enter a new friendship or partnership still holding on to hurt from the last one, you carry baggage into the new space. That baggage takes up room that should have been filled with trust, openness, and joy. Instead of giving the new relationship a fair chance, it gets crowded with echoes of the old. Letting go of the past relationship doesn't mean erasing the memory. It means clearing emotional space so that something healthier can thrive. Without letting go, the new will always compete with the old, and growth becomes impossible. The same is true with opportunities. Some people hold on so tightly to what didn't work that they miss what could work. They are so focused on the door that closed that they don't notice the door that has opened. Letting go is the act of turning away from the closed door so that you can step fully into the one that's open. Every season has its opportunities, but those opportunities require space in your heart, your schedule, and your energy. If all of that is tied up in yesterday, you cannot embrace today. There's also a freedom that comes with space. Imagine cleaning out a room in your house that's been filled with junk for years. The moment it's cleared, it feels lighter, brighter, full of possibility. You start imagining what you can do with the space, maybe a study, a guest room, a place for creativity. The same thing happens in your life. When you let go of what has weighed you down, you begin to feel lighter. That lightness sparks vision. It gives you energy. It makes you excited about the future instead of tied to the past. Letting go also creates room for self-discovery. As long as you're carrying old identities, labels someone gave you, mistakes you once made, roles you once filled, you're limiting your own growth. You may be holding on to who you once were so tightly that you don't allow yourself to become who you are meant to be. But when you release those old labels, you create room for a new self to emerge. Growth is not about staying the same, it's about transformation. And transformation only happens when you make room for it. The process of letting go may feel uncomfortable at first because it often means stepping into the unknown. But the unknown is where growth happens. You can't step into the new while clinging to the old. The tighter you hold on, the less room you have for anything else. The moment you loosen your grip, you free yourself. And in that freedom lies the space to grow into someone stronger, wiser, and more alive than you've ever been.